Rocks. Our proposal and visual installation originates in stone tape theory, the speculation that ghosts and hauntings are the same as tape recordings. Human trauma and memory could potentially be played back to you through non-living matter such as stones.
It was popularised by the 1972 Christmas ghost story, The Stone Tape, produced by the BBC. However, the idea that human thoughts and emotion could be traced through stimulus in the environment was explored in the 19th century by multiple philosophers as a natural explanation for supernatural events.
Whilst there is no empirical evidence for the theory, the idea that stones can absorb and regurgitate human information is beneficial to creating new perceptions of the environment. We wanted to explore these ideas in an artistic and visual context.
In terms of the visual idea, we chose an installation of multiple fake rocks secretly containing a mixture of video cameras, projectors and speakers that interact with the audience. In terms of visuals, the cameras will record people entering, experiencing and leaving the exhibition, and that video will be played with a 1-minute delay through these projectors. The aim being to create a surreal, surveilled environment where you watch yourself enter the room a minute after it's happened.
With the audio, we want to include microphones hanging throughout the exhibition that record the audience and is then played back, also slightly delayed and distorted through the fake rock speakers. Though this could be interesting installed in a cave where the fake stones blend into their surroundings, we think it would be more powerful to have the stones placed in a blank, clean exhibition space where higher importance is placed on the individual rocks and they almost feel extracted from another location, adding to that eeriness.
We made a digital mock-up of what the exhibition could look like on Autodesk Maya, which allows a realistic representation of lighting and physics for the space. We also made a physical mock-up of what one camera and a projector pairing could look like, using a variety of materials to explore what works effectively, which we'll expand upon later. In terms of more intricate details of the exhibition, we would include a disclaimer that video and audio recording was in progress, and the exhibiting room would be disconnected from wherever it was in order to fully immerse the audience.
During our contextual research, we came across the work of Robert Smithson. Smithson created his work guided by the ideas of nature, entropy and temporal space. He was redefining what one might consider art to be and challenging the modern notion that art is a commodity. He seemed to have conflict with placing works dealing with these issues in an outdated gallery space. Through our work with rocks, we wanted to question whether earthworks can belong in a gallery space, playing with the idea of situatedness and how the public react with the work. We wanted to redeem the gallery space as somewhere where these types of works could be shown, but rather than using a white cube space, we chose to have an almost pitch dark room with multiple spotlights.
Due to the fact of it being a highly interactive exhibition where your voice and image is played back to you, we believe we break down this idea of the outdated gallery space that Smithson was talking of. Jeremy Deller created work surrounding the Stonehenge. He chose to show it in an inflatable version of the original site. We believe it to be a very powerful example of how an art piece can form these interactions with the public, allowing them to become fully immersed with the space.
Bruno Latour gave this idea of sensitising yourself to the environment. Becoming sensitive requires taking account of the everyday experiences of being. It also breaks down this subject-object relationship. Latour talks of the still life and how there's never such thing as a still life because the object is not passive. We wanted to play with this idea in relation to the rock. They could be disregarded as passive objects, or we could activate them into active members. The idea of a rock recording you and watching you activates this object into a being, placing emphasis on non-human matter having thing power, which Jane Bennett talked about in her book Vibrant Matter, A Political Ecology of Things. The idea that the non-human and human are inherently linked.
Another important theory in this exhibition is the idea of ghost strata. Ghost strata refers to the missing elements of rock within rock strata that, despite their absence, offer hints of what was once there. It explores the differing scales of impact that humanity's presence has had on the earth in the past and the present and into the future. Found sound and text create a mediation on time, memory, leftovers and extinction. In relation to our work, we find this almost haunting idea of removed rock fascinating, going back to the slightly uncanny idea of our stones being stolen from their original site. We hope to give the impression that the rocks are acting on their own accord, independent of human action.
In terms of the material exploration, once we had a clear idea in our mind about the installation, we took a trip to Yorkshire Sculpture Park to gain inspiration for the making process from artists including Felida Barlow, Tania Kovacs and Mikhail Oyanjanyan. This led us to the decision of making fake rocks out of extruded polystyrene to create a physical mock-up of the experience. We spent a number of days creating these mock-ups for the exhibition space using a range of materials. We cut the extruded polystyrene board into 4 pieces, stacked them on top of each other and moulded them into rock-like forms.
The first rock was created using polyfiller for texture, then painted in black and white acrylic paint. The second was carved out with a cutting knife to create jagged edges as if the rock had been eroded. The final mock-up was made of expanding foam and once again painted.
After creating the fake rocks, we set up a space in which we could do a trial for the final exhibition. We used a projector through a hole in the rock and implanted a 360-degree camera into another rock, which connected to the projector, showing a delayed live feed of people interacting with the space.
The audio was also a key part of the experience. We tested an app called Speech Jammer in which your voice is replayed to you, distorted and delayed, much like the visuals. We implanted the speaker into one of the stones so they would form a complete visualization of the stone tape theory. The rock is quite literally talking back to you.
In regards to the audience, the installation creates a space where nothing is as it seems. Each detail is carefully thought out and placed to make the audience as comfortable as possible. We chose this to be able to situate the idea of inanimate objects spewing back information to you in a context outside of reality as we know it. Choosing a gallery space for the installation, we toyed with the idea of natural phenomena being placed in a foreign environment. The removal of all context allows for the focus to be entirely on the rocks, as energetic matter that are interacting with you in almost human-like ways. It gives the rock pieces a haunted eeriness to them, almost like they've been stolen from their natural environment, maybe a stone circle, and brought here. There you go.
In terms of our target audience, we want a wide range of viewers, but with the intention of changing people's perspectives on how they interact with the non-living, non-human matter, and how we interpret our environment. During our research, we became aware of how magical realism could be an approach to changing our outlook on environmental crises. It will be interesting to observe where the audience walks, if they try and avoid the view of the cameras, although it will be difficult due to the delayed image.